Good morning. Development policy is the ultimate human interest story. Europe's aid change lives for good. Our policies are really about the people, real people, not just money, ideas and cooperation. I would like to start with one concrete story. It's about Angela from Mozambique. She's 34-year-old single mother suffering from AIDS. When she fell sick, she went to visit the medical center, part of her own country's health system, funded by the European Union. With treatment and medicines, she was able to recover, and now she's taking care of her children. This is just one story among others, thousands, millions of others. Together, these stories show the power of development, the power to change lives and even the whole societies. Our development projects are changing the reality in poorest countries, improving livelihoods worldwide. The European Union is at the forefront of the fight against poverty. Each European citizen contributes for around €100 each year, and as a result, the European Union is the first global donor, representing more than a half of the global aid. This is something we as Europeans can be proud of, and we can see progress because of our policies towards the Millennium Development Goals. But poverty still remains. With 1.4 billion people, almost 3 times the number of Europeans living in extreme poverty. So now is not the time for complacency. We need to redouble our efforts. 2010, in a way, is a year of development. It comes 10 years after the launch of so-called Millennium Development Goals, whose main objective was to cut by half poverty by 2015. In September, all heads of states and governments will meet in New York to take stock of progress made towards the achieving Millennium Development Goals, and also to discuss how to really make ahead to achieve these goals. In that perspective, the European Commission launched today an action plan, how to get back on track with our will of making them reality. We know that the picture today is not black and white. It's in reality mixed. But achieving the development goals is possible. What would be the best way to do so? There is not just one measure how we can fix everything. But first, we all have to increase our financial aid. Since 2000, Europe has doubled its aid to developing countries, which today amount €49 billion. But we have made a pledge to achieve 0.7% of gross national income to development aid by 2015. And unfortunately, today we are on the level of 0.42. Sticking to our commitments requests a clear effort by member states. But if you see on the figures, the challenge is still there. What is the reason for the importance to come to these figures? Well, it's not only about money, but it's also about credibility of our effort. We made a promise and we should respect it. And the European Union, being a world leader, has a major responsibility. I know that the EU public budgets alone won't be sufficient. It's also true that developing countries should increase their domestic resources. Our action plan proposes to support the establishment of proper fiscal systems in these countries so they can be real owners of their future. On the other side, our action plan supports any new global mechanism that could generate significant revenues, ensure predictability of financing for development. But it's not only about money. We also have to make our aid more efficient by working all together in partnership, doing more for most fragile, and focusing on basics: health, education, and food security. We also have to make our other EU policies work for development, from trade to migration, from our climate policy to agriculture. I will personally work closely with my colleagues in the Commission to make sure that we are coherent and efficient, not only achieving our proper goals, but also development cooperation goals. All the proposals will be presented to ministers of member states. They should bring the definition of a common EU position for the United Nations Summit in September. And I hope they will be endorsed by our heads of state and governments when they meet in June. They have to confirm that we, as Europeans, take this policy as a serious challenge, and we are committed to achieve the Millennium Development Goals. I want Europe to remain the credible leader in the fight against poverty.